All right, sampling types. How you sample things is very, very important. For example, if we are trying to figure out all of Jackson County High School and their opinion or the student body's opinion on something, it wouldn't be fair for me to walk into one classroom and only sample one classroom. It's not a representative sample. So this gives you representative samples. There's 4 different ways we can get a representative sample. First of all, it's what's called a simple random sample. In a simple random sample, everybody gets a number. Okay? So everybody's assigned a number. Maybe it's your student number, maybe it's just got a whole roster and we assign everybody a number. Okay? And then we draw numbers at random. So kind of like a lottery. And you just get what you get. You might get all the same type, you might not, whatever. It is completely random. So everybody gets a number. You draw numbers at random. Numbers are chosen at random. It's going to be the key thing here. Systematic. Everybody gets a number. Well, I missed body up here. Everybody gets a number. So whatever way you want to assign numbers, just straight down the thing. But then every blank person is chosen. So maybe this is a case where we choose, so this is called systematic, every 3rd person, okay, or every 5th person, or every 10th person, whatever it happens to be, that is systematic. Stratified sample, okay, pre-existing groups. But the key thing here, it's kind of hard to determine the groups on these two because both of these are groupings. You have pre-existing groups, but here's the deal. Equal number from each group. So we might break the school up into seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen and take 10 from every class. Okay? That is stratified. Equal numbers from each group. Cluster is that you have groups, but you take the entire group. So this might be a deal where we break you into juniors, seniors, sophomores, and freshmen, and we take the entire junior class and the entire freshman class and survey them. That's a cluster sample. So if you see the words each or every, and it has to do with grouping, you know you're talking about a cluster. If you're looking at something and it's a grouping and we're taking an equal number from each group, then it's stratified. Systematic, if everybody's getting a number and then we're taking every blank person, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 129th, it doesn't matter. That's systematic. There's a system to it. Simple random. Everybody gets a number, you draw numbers at random. Okay, it's probably going to say the word random in there, but don't go off just that word. But it's completely a lottery type deal. That's going to be simple random. So those are your different sampling types. It's important to know those. Now, the last thing to talk about is bias. Bias, anything that does not make the experiment fair. So, for example, a bias, so anything that taints the experiment or the sample. Okay, so let's say that I wanted to know if NASCAR was popular among Americans, all right? It would not be fair for me to go to a NASCAR race to see if they like NASCAR or not. That's a biased sample, okay? Unbiased samples mean it's completely at random and you're getting a good perspective of everybody. Maybe an unbiased sample would be to poll 50 Americans from each state, okay, at random. So 50 Americans from each state at random. That also would be a stratified sample because we have groups, which are the states, and then 50 from each state, so equal number from each state. That would be an unbiased sample. All right, so hopefully you have the idea of what biased and unbiased and also the 4 different types. The last 2 things that are bad sampling is what's called volunteer sampling, or convenience sampling. These are bad, but they're most often used. Volunteer sampling might be where they send you an email and say, hey, please respond. That's a volunteer. You can respond or you don't have to respond. The thing about volunteers is you only get the extremes, okay? You get somebody that's extremely happy or extremely mad. That's it. You don't get that middle portion. All the survey cars at all the restaurants. You get the person that was extremely happy with their service or somebody's service that was extremely bad. You rarely ever get that person that's just in the middle. Convenient sampling. This is like the mall stuff, like the dude that stands in the mall and walks up to you and says, hey, take this survey. That's convenient sampling. Again, not a great way to do things because you're not equally dispersing out number of people or the sampling type. So convenient sampling is bad. Volunteer sampling is also bad because you only get the extremes. And then we want to eliminate bias or anything that might cause our sample to be slanted one way or the other. All right, so go ahead and try your worksheets now. If you have questions, let me know.